Marine Corps Reserve is a critical component of our nation's defense. We provide 30% of our total force capabilities with 3.2% of the Marine Corps' budget. We are not a strategic reserve held for a distant crisis. We are a globally engaged operational force that provides the Marine Corps strategic depth and the ability to augment and reinforce the active component at a moment's notice. Our relevance is defined by our readiness. Providing combat-ready units to global operations, the Reserve is seamlessly integrated with the total force. In fiscal year 2025, we activated Reserve Marines across 5 combatant commands. Today, we have Marines activated in every geographic combatant command to include combat operations in CENTCOM and afloat on our Marine expeditionary units. These deployments are not just a measure of our readiness, but it's how we build it. We are growing a more capable, combat-seasoned reserve force that's going to be prepared for high-end conflict. This level of readiness and modernization is directly enabled by your support. We thank the subcommittee for its continued support, especially through the National Guard and Reserve Equipment account. For the Marine Corps Reserve, NGREA is not just a funding line. It's a warfighting requirement and the primary tool that enables our modernization. These funds allow us to field the modern platforms and systems our Marines need to train as they fight. With 99% execution rate across recent fiscal years, the Marine Corps has proven its ability to execute with discipline and reserve and speed while maintaining our services clean audit for the last 3 years. Reserve readiness requires modern infrastructure. The Marine Corps Reserve occupies 148 reserve training centers across 47 states, and the average condition in our portfolio is poor. While we aggressively pursue efficiencies through programs like facility sustainment, restoration and modernization, and military construction Navy Reserve, to slow this decline, the disparity between our requirements and resources is growing. Continued support for our military construction and sustainment accounts is essential to provide safe, secure, and modern facilities where our Marines train. Because at the heart of the success is our Marines, sailors, and families who serve with unwavering dedication. They are the foundation of our readiness. With your continued support, I'm confident that the Marine Corps will remain what our nation expects us to be, an elite, combat-ready force prepared to answer a call anytime and any place. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. It's a great time to be a Marine reservist. I look forward to your questions.
Good morning, Chairman McConnell, Ranking Member Coons, and distinguished members of this committee. For 111 years, the Navy Reserve has provided critical strategic depth for the fleet and the joint force. When our nation calls, we answer, ready, lethal, and all in to fight and win today. We are building the Navy of the future and defining the next era of American sea power. Today, we are a resilient, agile, globally present, and combat-critical force that is fully integrated into the Navy's mission. With me today is our Force Master Chief, Nikki Rios, a tireless advocate for our sailors and their families. Force and I thank you for the opportunity to address this committee on behalf of our incredible Navy Reserve sailors. Over the last couple of months in support of Operation Epic Fury, our logistics support wing flying the C-40 and C-130 aircraft have evacuated over 2,800 personnel, including families, out of harm's way and demonstrated critical aerial refueling capabilities for the Navy, all while supporting critical carrier strike group logistics. These same squadrons have delivered thousands of pounds of critical cargo and tactical airlift support to Southcom, protecting our homeland and safely relocating our teams out of the path of Hurricane Melissa. When our nation calls and our fleet calls, the Navy Reserve answers, delivering logistics when and where they're needed. Your support for the KC-130J and the President's budget will ensure we can continue to answer that call with the capability and capacity our nation requires. Our North Star is clear. We are unambiguously focused on warfighting readiness. Today, 14,000 of our 59,000 Navy Reserve sailors are on active duty orders, serving in every area of responsibility. Our sailors are deployed 24/7, 365, restoring peace through strength while advancing the foundry, the fleet, and how we fight. We continue to modernize our force and align our resources to warfighting priorities, ensuring we're ready to fight and win today, tomorrow, and well into the future. Our most significant contribution to the nation's defense and the very foundation of our deterrence posture is our people. A lethal, ready, and resilient force is not built of steel and circuits alone. It's forged from the talent, training, and motivation of our sailors. Therefore, I ask for your full support in funding the RPN, the OMNR, and NGREA appropriations at the President's budget level. Our investment in our sailors is critical to enabling a mobilization and combat-ready force. Every drill weekend, Every exercise, every mobilization must sharpen our edge and must be matched by investment in modern equipment. To this end, we're posturing our force to deliver advanced combat-focused capabilities that the fleet demands. Replacing our aging C-130 Tango fleet with the modern KC-130J Super Hercules meets the fleet's demand to enable contested logistics and sustain maritime power. As I've shared with many of you, our C-130 Tango fleet, operated exclusively by the Navy Reserve, is the Navy's only long-range intra-theater lift of oversized cargo. Last year, this wing moved over 72,000 passengers and 22 million pounds of cargo. However, this fleet is aging and lacks modern survivability and communication equipment needed for contested environments. We're grateful for the strong bipartisan alignment on this priority. Chairman McConnell, Ranking Member Coons, and members of the committee, thank you for the continued support of the Navy Reserve, the sailors, the civilians, and the families who make our mission possible. I look forward to your questions.
Good morning, Chairman McConnell, Ranking Member Coons, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. On behalf of Command Sergeant Major Greg Betty and the more than 180,000 soldiers and civilians of your Army Reserve, thank you for your support of our warrior citizens and their families. For just 6% of the total Army budget, the Army Reserve provides over half of the Army's maneuver support forces, including the majority of theater-level medical, engineer, and sustainment units, and more than 95% of the Army's total bulk fuel distribution capacity in support of the Joint Force. You go, we go. That's my message to my active duty teammates. Right now, nearly 9,000 Army Reserve soldiers are deployed, supporting Army and Joint Force requirements at home and around the globe, to include support to Operation Epic Fury and operations on our southern border. Our soldiers are in the fight. To keep pace with emerging threats and to prepare for large-scale combat operations, or LSCO, we are transforming. The foundation of this transformation is our shift to a geographic mission command, a model that replaces a C2 structure built for predictable GWAT deployments with a geographic alignment that better supports building readiness for LSCO. To ensure our soldiers and units remain ready, I ask for your help in 3 key areas. First, predictable funding. Continuing resolutions and government shutdowns have huge readiness impacts, and the part-time nature of our force makes missed training days nearly impossible to recover. Second, continued support of our OMAR and RPA funding. In a major conflict, more than 35,000 Army Reserve soldiers are required within the first 60 days. We must be ready. Third, continued support of the much-appreciated National Guard and Reserve Equipment Account, or NGREA, which allows for the flexible procurement of critical equipment. On 7 March,